Hey everybody, this is Bonnie with Bonnie Bay Crochet, and today I want to show you how to make the drifting weave scarf and matching hat set. Now the scarf will be the first thing that you will see in the video, and in the video description I will have the time marks where you can begin the hat should you just be interested in the hat. Well, anyway, I'm really excited about this one because people always ask me, do you have anything for the men in my life? You know, what kind of sweater designs, hat designs, scarves, whatever. Well, this one, I believe, oh, let me just also show you, it is totally reversible. Totally reversible. And I think it is a very masculine design, very geometric, that I think the guy in your life will absolutely love, or I hope they will. I believe my guys will really actually want to wear this one, since it doesn't have as much of the frills that sometimes we crocheters like to add. And with the matching hat, you just can't really go wrong here. I am using a number 4 weight yarn, and I'm going to show that to you in just a minute. This is 100% wool that I use for the demonstration, but if you want to substitute your favorite acrylic yarn, please feel free to do that. Now, if you're visiting my channel for the first time, or maybe, you know, for a few times and haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss some of the new offerings that I will be bringing forth on this channel. Also, hit that notification bell so that you can get my notifications. All right, well, let's go ahead and start. For this project, I'm going to be using yarn by Cascade Yarns called Cascade 220 Heathers, and this is 100% Peruvian Highland wool. Each of these hanks has 100 grams, 3.5 ounces, or 220 yards, which is the equivalent of 200 meters. This is a worsted weight or number 4 weight yarn. I'm also going to be using a size J or 10 or 6.00 millimeter crochet hook, and as always, I'm recommending that you have a yarn needle and a pair of sharp scissors handy. To begin, we're going to start with a slip knot and a starting chain of 32 chains. To begin, we're going to start by working a double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook, and since we're not going to be working over this foundation chain, I'm going to actually work in the back bump, which is that little ridge behind each chain. So go ahead and work in each of those. You should have a total of 29 stitches at the end of this row, and that's not including that chain 3 at the beginning. So this is what you should have after completing row 1. For row 2, we are going to turn, and the next 3 rows are going to be crocheted post ribbing. So we're going to chain 2, we're going to skip the first stitch, we're going to work a front post in the first stitch, and then a back post where we come in behind and complete the stitch on the back side. Front post where you take the hook, it wraps around the body, and then you complete a double crochet in the normal manner. And then for a back post, come in the back door, around the front, out the side door, and complete the stitch. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and work that all the way across the row. Front post, double crochet, followed by back post, double crochet. This row ends by working a back post double crochet in the last stitch, and then we're going to work a half double crochet worked into that turning chain. So let's go ahead and turn and take a look at our ribbing. So now for rows 3 and 4, we're just going to repeat what we just did with row number 2 with a chain 2, skip the first stitch, front post double crochet, back post double crochet, etc. across the row. So go ahead and work the next 2 rows. So this is what you should have after completing 4 rows. Now for row 5, we're going to start our pattern stitch with the chain 2. We're going to skip the first stitch. We're going to work 4 front post double crochets, And then we're going to follow that with 4 back post double crochets. Okay, so we are going to work that across the row. Again, 4 front post double crochets followed by 4 back post double crochets. The row ends by working 4 front post double crochets, and then we're going to work a half double crochet into that turning chain. Okay, so let's take a look. All right, so now for row number 6, we're going to chain 2, and this is where we're going to start to establish the diagonal pattern. We're going to skip that first stitch. We're going to work a front post double crochet in that first stitch, and then now we're going to work 4 back post double crochets. Now you're going to have to be careful to count, because this is a little bit different than doing the straight up basket weave where we do back post over back post and front post over front post. Let me show you. Let's try that one again. I got a strand in the way. There we go. And so we did a front post here, and then 3 back posts, and that 4th back post is over one of the front posts. So this is just how this is going to vary. So now the next thing we do is 4 front post double crochets, 1, 2, 3 that are already front post, or at least are presenting themselves as that, and then 1 from the other grouping. Okay, and then we go back to 4 back post double crochets. I'm just going to work this one all the way across with you so that you understand what's happening, because this is how this really cool geometric pattern is established. And now we have 3 back posts, and then we're going to take 1 from this grouping. That also becomes a back post, and then 4 front posts. So we're still sticking with the 4 in the groupings. It's just that we're kind of drifting them, or just kind of staggering them by 1 stitch in a particular direction. So we're going to take 1. So we made 1, 2, 3 front posts plus 1 from this next grouping. Okay, so we're going to do that all the way across the row. So we're just counting 1, 2, 3, and then taking 1 more from that stitch, 4. And then here, 1, 2, 3, and as you can see, these are of the front post, and then we're going to take 1 more from this other grouping, 4, which means we're going to have only 3 back posts at the end of the row. 1, 2, 3 back post. Of course, the first, at the very beginning of the row, is that stitch there, so that's kind of part of that 4 grouping, and then half double at the end of the row. So this is what you should have after completing 6 rows. Okay, on to row number 7. Chain 2, and you can kind of get a look at where we're headed now. So what we're going to do is skip the first stitch. We're going to work 2 front post double crochets, and then we start the 4 back post and then 4 front post pattern. So now we work 4 back post. It's always going to be just 1 off of what you did on the last row. Okay, and then now for the front post, take this one that's left from that other set. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let's take a look. You can kind of already see the stagger starting to happen, and that's going to happen on both sides. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and finish this row, and I'll show you the last stitches of the row. So row 7 is going to end with 2 back post double crochets and then a half double worked into that turning chain. And this is what you should have after completing 7 rows. Let's go ahead and turn for row number 8, the chain 2. And so we're just going to continue this pattern. So we see 1 stitch here and then 2. So that means we're going to have 3 across on these post stitches. Again, without saying, but skip that first half double. We're going to work 3 front post double crochets, and then we go back to our 4 and 4 back post. Let's get some more yarn here. This is stitch number 3. And I know I'm doing this kind of fast. I'm sorry about that. But these are just front and back post double crochet. So there's nothing extra special about those. So these are 4. And then we do 4 more. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And so we just continue that across the row, and I will show you how this row ends. At the end of this row, we have just 1 back post double crochet and then a half double in that turning chain. So this is what you should have after completing 8 rows, and you already see the pattern being established. And that's really after only 4 rows of the pattern stitch. Let's go on to row number 9. We chain 2, and looking at this pattern, it looks like we're going to skip that first stitch and we're going to work 4 back post double crochets, okay, and then we have 1 left, and that's going to become a front post. So we're going to work 4 front post double crochets, okay, so just continue that across. Then will be 4 back posts and then 4 front posts as you go across. Row 9 ends by working 4 back post double crochets and half double in the turning chain. Now on to row number 10. Chain 2, and it's time for us to skip that first stitch and then back post double crochet into 1 stitch, that first stitch, and then we begin our 4 and 4 pattern. Front post double crochet in each of the next 4 stitches, and then back post double crochet into each of the next 4 stitches. Okay, and let's take a broader look at this. All right, so continue that across and I'll show you how the row ends. Row 10 ends by working 3 front post double crochets and the half double in the turning chain. Let's turn for row number 11. We're going to chain 2, skip that first stitch. We're going to back post double crochet into the first 2 stitches, And then we begin the 4 front post double crochets, followed by the 4 back post double crochets, so go ahead and work that all the way across. So row 11 ends by working 2 front post double crochets and the half double in the turning chain. Now for row number 12, we're going to chain 2. So after that chain 2, we're going to skip the half double and we're going to work 3 back post double crochets, and this is where we resume the 4 and 4 pattern. 4 front post double crochets, and 4 back post double crochets. All right, so go ahead and work that all the way across and I'll show you the ending of this. Row number 12 ends with 1 front post double crochet and a half double worked into the turning chain. So let's turn and take a look at what we have already completed. I hope you're enjoying this pattern as much as I am. I just love this, and I think this is going to be such a beautiful scarf, really, for either men or women, but I just particularly like the masculine look of this. I think this is going to be a very special gift for one of my guys in my family. All right, so now to continue this pattern, what I'm going to have you do is go all the way back to row number 5. If you need tech support or if you need video support, go back to row number 5, and that's where we started with the 4 front post and 4 back post. And I'll put a little time mark at the bottom of the screen there so you can go back to that part in the video and re-watch this as many times as you need. And so what you're going to do is you're going to repeat that and look across the bottom of the screen, and I'll show you how many times I repeated that. It'll have how many rows I completed. And then once you do that, then it's time to go back to the ribbing that we started at the very beginning. Now this scarf is such that you can literally make it any size that you want in length, and you can also make it any size width that you like. All you need to do is use any multiple of 4. Okay, we started out with a multiple or with a number of 32 stitches. So yeah, any straight up multiple of 4 will work for the width of this beautiful stitch. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and work this scarf to the length that I desire it to be, and then I'll come back and show you what I have. Okay, I've worked approximately 109 rows, and you can see this beautiful pattern, how it's established itself. Now I'm going to start to transition back to the ribbing at row 110. But if you want this scarf to be even longer, feel free to just continue this pattern until you're about an inch or so from the length that you desire. Okay, once you get to that point, this is what we're going to do. It's a very simple transition. We're going to chain 2, skip this first end stitch, and we're simply going to work front post double crochet followed by a back post double crochet. We're going to repeat that for a few rows. Let me get past this knot here. Okay, so we are just going to work front post double crochet followed by the back post double crochet, and we're going to work this all the way across, and I'll show you the ending at the end of this row. So I've worked front post and back post all the way across, and then we work a half double crochet into the turning chain, and then we're going to turn And we're going to repeat this row 3 times more. And then at the end of the third repeat, which in this case would be, see, this is row 110, 11, 12, 13, 113. We just fasten off with a chain and hide our loose strands. So I'll go ahead and start you off on the last of these rows. So again, skip that first stitch, and then we just work front post, double crochet, and then a back post. So go ahead and work those last 3 rows just like that. So this is what you should have after finishing those last few rows with the ribbing. And I've gone ahead and I have fastened off and hidden my loose strands. For this project, I'm going to be using 1 hank of this beautiful yarn, which is by Cascade Yarns. It's called Cascade 220 Heathers, and this is 100% Peruvian Highland wool. Each of these hanks has 100 grams or 3.5 ounces, which is the equivalent of 220 yards or approximately 200 meters. The number that you will need will be listed across the bottom of your screen. I'm also recommending that you have a size J or 10 or 6.00 millimeter crochet hook, or what you will need to achieve gauge, which is very important. And I'm also recommending that you have a pair of sharp scissors and a yarn needle handy. To begin, I'm going to start with a magic circle, and this is the way I do mine. I wrap once and twice. Now if you do yours differently, feel free to use whatever method you like. And then I'm going to pull the loop up. I'm going to give it a chain. I'm going to work 7 single crochets into this big loop. That's 5, 6, and 7. I'm going to pull up a little loop here, and then I am going to pull on this tail to bring this circle to a complete close here, so there's no opening. That looks good. Then I'm going to join with a slip stitch to that very first single crochet. It's a little tricky because it's so tight. Let's try that one again. All right, there we go. I've got all the loops. All right, now I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to work 2 single crochets in each of these 7 single crochets, and including the one that we just joined, we work 2 stitches there, 2 in the next, and we're going to go all the way around until we have a total of 14 stitches. Again, just 2 single crochets in each stitch. And then we're going to join with a slip stitch to that first stitch of the round. Let's go ahead and count our stitches. So that was the one where we joined 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay. So now for round 3, we're going to chain 1. We're going to work 1 single crochet in the first stitch, 2 into the next, 1 into the next single crochet, and then 2 into the next one. Again, 1 single crochet and then 2. So go ahead and work that all the way around. At the end of round 3, we're going to join again with a slip stitch to that first stitch of the round. For round 4, we're going to chain 1 single crochet in the same stitch as joining, and in the next stitch, and then 2 in the next. We're going to do that again. 1 stitch, 1 stitch, and then 2 stitches, and that's going to be the repeat all the way around. Another way of saying it is 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches, and then 2 single crochets in the next stitch, and that's going to be the repeat all the way around for round number 4. At the end of round 4, we're going to join with a slip stitch to that first stitch of the round. Should have a total of 28 stitches. Be sure that that is the case. Now for round 5, we're going to chain 2, and we're going to work 2 double crochets in each stitch around, and that's going to double our stitch count to 56, which will be the consistent stitch count that we end up with for most of the rest of this project. So go ahead and work those 2 double crochets in each stitch around. At the end of row 5, we're going to join with the slip stitch to the top of that first stitch. And for the record, the chain 2 does not count as a stitch in this project. And yes, it does look a little bit wavy, so if yours is like that, that's good. That's the way it's supposed to be at this point. So now we're going to begin the pattern stitch. We're going to chain 2, and we're going to work 4 front post double crochets, and we're going to follow that with 4 back post double crochets. And as we work these rows, you're going to see this waviness disappear and begin to form a hat shape. So that's what we're going to repeat all the way around. 4 front post double crochets followed by 4 back post double crochets. At the end of round 6, we're going to join with a slip stitch to that first stitch of the round. Okay, now we're going to see the pattern unfold. We're going to chain 2. We're not going to turn for any of these rounds. We're just going to keep the same side facing. Okay, so we're going to work a back post double crochet to start, and then we're going to continue with 4 front post double crochets. So that's going to take 3 of what was left of that 4 group cluster plus 1 more. Let me try that one again. Plus 1 more. Okay, so we're kind of stealing from the next grouping, and then we work 4 back post double crochets, which will be the remaining 3 of that grouping, and then you take 1 more from the next group of 4. Okay, I'm going to do that again with you. So 4 front post double crochets, and it's going to take 1 from that next group. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 4 back post double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, so go ahead and work that all the way around. So at the end of round 7, we have 1 stitch left, and I'm going to have you grab that turning chain as well down there, and we're going to just crochet that into the work. Okay, just like that, and then join with a slip stitch to that first stitch of the round. Now we're ready for round number 8. Chain 2, and we're going to continue this pattern by working back post double crochets in the first 2 stitches. like that, and then continue with 4 front post double crochets, and again taking one from that other group, and then 4 back post double crochets. Okay, and you can see the pattern, the staggered pattern taking shape. To end round 8, we're going to work those last 2 double crochets, and that last double crochet I'm going to work it around the turning chain as well, just like that, and then we're going to join with the slip stitch to that first stitch of the round. On to round number 9. We're going to chain 2, and we're going to start with 3 back post double crochets, and then we return to our 4 front post double crochets, followed by the 4 back post double crochets. So I'll work a set with you. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 4 back post. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And let's take a look so you can see how it's changing. All right, so go ahead and finish that round. At the end of round 9, we're going to work 1 back post double crochet, and we're going to include that turning chain with that as well, and work a slip stitch into that first stitch of the round, chain 2, and let's see, this round is going to start with 4 back post double crochets. So we have the 3 that are already established as back post, and then take 1 more. So 4 back post double crochets, followed by 4 front post double crochets. And that's what you're going to work all the way around. And you can see that drifting effect in full play at this point. So at the end of round 10, we're going to work that last stitch with that turning chain, just like that, and join with the slip stitch to that first stitch of the round. And you can see this is starting to take the shape of a hat. So now for round 11, we're going to chain 2, and we're going to start with a front post double crochet, just 1, and then 4 back post double crochets, followed by, you guessed it, 4 front post double crochets. And again, always taking 1 from that next grouping of 4. So go ahead and work that all the way around. At the end of round 11, I've worked those last 3 front post double crochets, and that last one I worked over the chain as well, and then join with the slip stitch, chain 2 to begin round 12, and we're going to work 2 front post double crochets. So after those 2 front posts, we're going to work 4 back post double crochets, followed by 4 front post double crochets, returning to that pattern stitch. So you have the 4 back post, and again the 4 front post double crochets. And again, taking one of that 4 grouping of the next stitch. So go ahead and work that all the way around. At the end of round 12, we're going to work those last 2 stitches. And this is the stitch and the chain being worked together. So we have 2 stitches that remain, and then join with a slip stitch to the first stitch of the round, chain 2. And so now we are going to work 3. This is for round 13. Work 3 front post double crochets, and then we return to our pattern stitch, 4 back post double crochets, followed by 4. Wait a minute. See, I did 3. Be careful of that. That's a common mistake, and I just made it for the camera. That's normally because we're just used to doing what we see, front post and front post, back post and back post. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 back post, and then 4 front post. So if you catch yourself doing that, you're in good company. But when you catch yourself doing that, make sure that you back up and make sure that you have a grouping of 4 and not 3 like I just did there. So anyway, 4 back post and 4 front post all the way around. Okay, at this point, we're going to be repeating rounds that we've already done. So what we're going to do is going to go back to round number 6, and that's where we were starting way down here, where we worked 4 front post and 4 back post. So we will begin that up here. If you need stitch support, look at the bottom of the screen, and I'll put a time mark where that round begins, and we're going to repeat rounds 6 through 13 to continue the stitch pattern. But look across the bottom of the screen, and I'll put the rows that you need to work right down there. All right, this is what I have, and I'm about to transition to the bottom ribbing so that it will match the matching scarf. Now, before I do that, let me tell you what I did. I repeated rounds 6 through 13 one additional time, plus I worked row 6 again. So I've added 9 additional rounds from where we left off before. So now to start round 23, we're going to work a chain 2, and then we're going to work a front post double crochet, followed by a back post double crochet, and we're going to just work that all the way around. Front post and then a back post. So go ahead and work that all the way around. At the end of the round, we're going to join with a slip stitch to the top of this stitch right here, and then we're going to repeat this round 3 times more so that we have a nice brim at the edge of our hat. So go ahead and work those next 4 rounds. That's going to be round 23, 24, 25, and round 26. At the end of the 4th ribbing round, I joined with a slip stitch, and I'm going to give it a chain and a tug, and go ahead and clip a generous strand so that you can hide that with your yarn needle. Let's go ahead and take a look at our hat. Now, just to let you know, if you want this to be even longer and you want this to be more of a slouchy hat, just hold off before you go to the finishing ribbing and make it a little bit longer, should that be your desire. Well, I hope you enjoyed making the drifting weave scarf and hat with me today. If you did, please comment below. I would love to hear your comments. And if you like this video, please go ahead and hit that as well. Anyway, God bless. Bye-bye.